morning. It is Friday, December 26, 2014. It's Christmas weekend here in the Middle East. It is your morning edition on I-24 News. Good morning. I'm Yael Avi, and welcome to our show. And as you may have heard, Israel is heading to elections in 3 months. You couldn't have missed it. These elections have been characterized by many as the Bibi elections, a vote set into motion by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and a referendum of sorts on his continued leadership. That is largely true. The polls show him to be the party leader best positioned to form a solid coalition. Sadly, the case actually in the last several years, the one-man band coalition, so to speak. The elections are still his to lose, though. But it would also be a mistake to dismiss these elections as a popularity contest. According to polling analysts, it is also an election about left and right of the Israeli political spectrum and will define the future of Israel both internally and internationally. Speaking of the latest polls, it shows Prime Minister Netanyahu and his Labour Party leader opponent, Bougie Herzog, at a deadlock smack in the middle, 24 to 24 mandates. That's the recent poll that actually came out in the last 24 hours. Likud gets 24 mandates, Labour 24. Once again, that's Prime Minister Netanyahu versus Bougie Herzog, the head of the Labour Party. Of course, several numbers there we can touch on a little bit later. But when it comes to that smack in the middle number, many in Israel will still argue that the Labour left has lost much of its capital in latest years. And their main platform, a message of peace and a two-state solution, is one that the Israeli public is no longer engaged with, especially after this summer's war and nearly 2 decades of failed negotiations. And yet, there are those who are vying to join the Labour Party and seek a place in the Knesset as part of it. One of them, namely the director of the Israel Movement for Reform and Progressive Judaism, Rabbi and attorney Gilad Kariv, who is with me in studio this morning. Rabbi Kariv, thank you for being with us this morning. And before we break this down, and I'm going to ask you some tough questions about the labor in Israel, let's take a look at the following report, which deals with what was mainly the platform of the Labour Party, and that's the two-state solution, and where that process stands, if at all, in this day and age. Let's take a look at the following report.
A solution of 2 states for the 2 people.
2 states, an Israeli state and a Palestinian state.
Israel remains fully committed to the solution of 2 states for 2 peoples.
What happened to the 2-state solution ideal? While the outlines of a 2-state solution have been known for many years now, the real gap between both sides is much greater than perceived, and that gap is only growing. The Israeli claim is that the Palestinians are not real partners for peace, pointing to the Fatah-Hamas reconciliation deal and the lack of condemnation for terror attacks. The Palestinians' main argument revolves around the settlements. They argue that the constant Israeli expansion of settlements makes the 2-state solution increasingly difficult to apply. And with these arguments constantly at the center of attention, the public's faith in the solution is declining. According to a new poll conducted by the Jerusalem Post, 50% of Israelis and 38% of Palestinians support a permanent settlement deal, which includes a divided Jerusalem and territorial swaps for a final border agreement. However, these findings represent a drop in support compared to last year. Furthermore, a majority of Palestinians, 58%, believe Israel's long-term goals are to extend its borders to cover all the area between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea and expel its Arab citizens. Similarly, 37% of Israelis believe Palestinian aspirations in the long run are to conquer the state of Israel and destroy much of the Jewish population. But at the same time, the favorable solution among Israelis is still the 2-state solution, according to a different poll commissioned by 972 online magazine. Nonetheless, 71% of Jewish Israelis are worried about international isolation as a result of the frozen negotiations. With international pressure rising, frustration and violence from both sides increasing, and non-existent peace talks, the utopic 2-state solution seems only to be receding. But maybe this dead-end situation is the only way to jolt awake all those involved.
As said, we're joined in studio by Rabbi Kariv, who is vying to join in, to get into the Labour Party. I'm sure you're going to tell me that you believe in a 2-state solution, and I know the reasons behind it. But I'm really asking you straightforward, do you think the Israeli public still believes in the 2-state solution?
Well, first of all, good morning.
Good morning.
And I think that you gave the answer in the last presentation.
When they can get into the polls, when they get into the voting booth, that doesn't usually represent the case. And it's also, and I want to ask you this actually about the Labour Party. That is in the platform of the Labour Party is a two-state solution, but it's something that's not really heard very much when it comes to them campaigning.
So first of all, let's go back to your initial question. There is a solid majority in the Israeli public for a two-state solution. More than that, this is the only solution that Israelis identify, and we saw it in the numbers.
In the numbers.
And definitely, after so many years that the current government is signaling to the Israeli public that there is no partner, you can expect a drop in the number of Israelis that support this solution. And I'm surprised to see that this drop is a minimal drop. Now, in regard to the Labour Party, I think that the Labour Party did a mistake 2 years ago during the last election campaign by hiding the issue of the peace process with the Palestinians. The Labour Party went to the polls last time with one flag, and that's the economic flag or the social flag.
Yes.
And we saw the drop in the numbers of the Labour voters. I think that the move that is taking place today between Tzipi Livni and Yitzhak Herzog, it's actually a move to bring back the original voters of the Labour Party that left the party in the last election because we left the agenda of the peace process.
But do you think that that's being portrayed by the Labour Party? I'm asking, Tzipi Livni has made it no secret, but she's not the Labour Party. She's somebody who's been brought in.
First of all,
she's been brought in, to help that bloc, that center-left bloc, combat Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. But do you believe that when it comes to campaigning, other than just joining in with Tzipi Livni, that's something that's being portrayed to the voters of the Labour?
It's more than clear to me that in this coming election campaign, the Labour Party will present 3 flags. One is the issue of the Israeli economy and actually the status of the Israeli society. The second is the issue of the peace process. And there is a 3rd flag, and that's basically the flag I'm presenting in the primaries campaign in the party, and that's the flag of strengthening Israel's democracy. Because in recent years, under the government of Benjamin Netanyahu, we see a very concentrated attack on the Israeli democracy, and I believe that our party will present those 3 flags to the Israeli public.
That goes without saying that the battle for democracy is something, and I want to touch on that in a second as well. We were, for the sake of full disclosure, we were supposed to have an opponent for you, so to speak, today of the Jewish home, who sadly was ill and stayed at home. But when it comes to democracy and the Jewish identity, that's one of the flags that I'm assuming a lot of the parties are going to run on, because the Jewish identity has been so entrenched within the discussion in the last several months leading up to the elections. When it comes to the Jewish identity, what does the Labour Party, propose to suggest in this upcoming elections? Because it's something that's going to be on the platform of many on the right.
You just said that many Israeli parties are going to present a platform around the issue of Jewish identity. I think that when it comes to the Labour Party, it will be around the democratic and Jewish identity of the State of Israel, and that's exactly the central point. When it comes to the Labour Party, the concept is that Israel cannot give up one of its fundamental characteristics. Israel will not survive if it's not a strong and vibrant democracy, and Israel will not survive if it's not the homeland of the Jewish people. And only a very strong and well-established combination of those 2 factors, our democratic character and our Jewish character as a state, will enable us to fulfill the Zionist dream. And unfortunately, the Likud in the end adopted the 2-state solution. It claims that there is no partner right now, but philosophically and politically speaking, Prime Minister Netanyahu
in a very famous speech,
said that he supports the 2-state solution. So the big difference in the ideological level between the Labour Party and the Likud, and definitely the Jewish home, is the way we want to balance the Israeli democracy with the basic fact that this is the national home of the Jewish people.
Well, that it's the national home of the Jewish people, but how would that be interlaced with into the Jewish, into the Israeli life? That's what we're all trying to figure out. Because at the end of the day, this law that was very controversial, the Jewish identity law, so to speak, is one of the steps that broke up this coalition.
Yes, and I think this is a very important fact to mention, because it shows us that today the borders between the two camps in Israel's politics is not around the two-state solution, but rather it's about the way we understand the character, or the way we vision the future character of the state of Israel. And unfortunately, there is one camp today, led by Abait HaYehudi, the Jewish home mainly, that suggests us to lower the viability of the Israeli democracy in order to protect its Jewish character. And I belong to a camp that declares and try to implement the idea that the democratic character of the state of Israel, the way we treat 1.5 million non-Jewish citizens, this is the best, test of the Jewish character of our state. As a Jewish state, we need to adopt those standards that allow us to integrate the non-Jewish minority in Israel, that allow us to shape a social policy that will fit the Jewish values. And I must tell you that I don't see the way that the vision of the Jewish home fits with the initial Zionist vision to the state of Israel.
And I'm sure that's something that you said, but just looking at this poll from this morning, okay, the Jewish home is the third one in rank. I'm looking at this poll, okay, Likud 24, Labor 24. The next step is 17 mandates for the Jewish home. Mm-hmm. And you just said, you do not see how that vision of the Jewish home, when it comes to the Jewish identity, a very hardcore straight line, how that interlaces with the, with the Jewish values. But clearly, many in Israel do think it does. If you're looking at those 17%, and it's no secret that when it comes to the Jewish home, their agenda is very to the right of the dial. Mm-hmm. So how do you sell that idea of Jewish values the way you see them to the Israeli public that seem to be gravitating towards a more, and let me just finish, towards a more right-wing agenda when it comes to the Jewish identity? And also, when we're looking at labor and selling that idea, it seems, and you must agree with me on one point, that the idea of security and the fact that, like Prime Minister Netanyahu has been selling for years, that if we don't watch out in Israel, we're going to become the minority, et cetera, it seems to be selling to the Israeli public.
Look, first of all, if we're going back to the numbers, you mentioned that the Jewish home is holding 17 mandates according to this poll. Yeah. But combine Yesh Atid and Meretz, and basically those two parties that belong to the central left wing of the Israeli political map, the two parties basically share the same vision when it comes to democracy and the way we explore our Jewish identity. And again, you see another block of, I think, according to this poll, of 18 mandates. So my claim is that in the end, the Israeli public, the Jewish public in Israel, is well divided between those two Zionist philosophies. Okay? One philosophy, again, is about giving more gravitas to the Jewish identity of the State of Israel. Right. And the other camp and the other vision is to combine, to integrate, to balance the Jewish character of the State of Israel and its democratic character. Now, look, I'm not surprised that after almost 40 years of right-wing dominance in the political system, there are many young Israelis that capture or embrace the vision of Abait HaYehudi of the Jewish home. But let's go back to 2011, to the summer of 2011. And let's remind us all that 500,000 Israelis, most of them young Israelis, went to the streets to demand social justice. I think that they...
I'm very glad you brought this up. I'm looking about the social justice in the 2011 campaign in the streets, what was referred to as, the social uprising of Israel. It failed miserably. I mean, think about it with me for a second. It failed miserably. There are thousands of people in the streets with, it's no secret that Israel is, a country that does not really support its young population when it comes to financially. But nobody, apropos from the Labour Party, had the guts to stand up and say this is also maybe because of occupation. This is also maybe because money is being funneled to the wrong places. I mean, the 2011 uprising did not succeed.
Look, I think that it is the Labour Party, and this is the only party that actually succeeded to translate the social protest into a political vision. I think that the Labour Party placed the issue of the Israeli economy and the situation inside Israel on the political agenda. This is the reason why the Labour Party didn't join Netanyahu's coalition in the last 2 years. I think the Labour Party, together with the issue of the peace process, will continue to talk about this issue. I'm taking part in so many primaries events, and this issue of poverty, of the status of young Israelis is on the table. And the Labour Party, I think, is the leading political force that says to the Israelis, without solving the issue with the Palestinians, there will be no future to the Israeli economy. Right. I'm sorry that Ronen Shoval is not with us this morning, and I wish him refuah shlema. I hope he will be well. But they are claiming that everything is good. The Jewish Home is claiming that everything is good in Israel's economy. The fact that every third Israeli child lives under poverty doesn't disturb their Jewish vision to the future of the state of Israel.
It's all valid points, and it's always, I think, a question also in my mind, will the social agenda issue, which, usually does not sell when it comes to the elections, because I think, many will say that when Israelis get into the booth, it's the whole idea of security that did sell, which is the point that we tried to make. But I'm trying to ask you this, because, many points that you're making, they all sound great. At the end of the day, they don't sell to the Israeli public. One of them being the fact that it's no secret that Israel is very isolated internationally. Okay? That the world doesn't, one can argue they'll always hate us. One can argue, it's because of the recent policies of the Israeli administration several years. Is that something that's going to be part of the labor agenda to sell? Because also, there seems to be, within the Israeli public, whenever that is being raised, this kind of, I'm going to say it in Italian, baffanculo, who cares? But still, the Israeli isolation internationally, is that something that labor is going to...
Israeli
isolation in the
Israelis do care about this issue. And I think that the growing isolation of Israel will be a main factor in the coming campaign. And let's go back 3 months ago. Who believed 3 months ago that there is a real chance to change the political structure in Israel? We went into those elections with the clear knowledge that Benjamin Netanyahu is going to form the next government, that actually is only improving his political position by forcing unnecessary elections on the Israeli public. Okay. And today, the concept of having Yitzhak Herzog as the next Prime Minister of the State of Israel is a valid concept. And the gaps between the popularity of Benjamin Netanyahu and Yitzhak Herzog are closing. So I really believe that the Israeli public has a basic desire for a new vision, for a new political philosophy. I understand why so many Israelis, when they go to the polls, deal with the issue of security. We have a government that for few decades...
Rabbi, that's what I'm saying. It's look, selling to the Israeli public.
In the presentation, in the opening statement of your of this show, you said that we are after 20 years of failing negotiations. We are after 45 years of failing status quo. Okay? The occupation is so great. It's a successful Zionist operation. Our international status today is so great. This is the way we vision our place in the world. And I think that more and more Israelis understand.
That's the question. Do you think that Israelis understand that?
Look at the polls. We started this electoral campaign with the Labour Party having 13 mandates in the poll. And a week after week in the last month, we see more and more polls that indicate that the Labour Party is back into the game, and that there is, play with the numbers, there is a real opportunity for the central left camp in Israel to establish a government after the elections. Look at the direction. The Labour Party is growing, and the Likud is shrinking in the number of its mandates. So, look, it's a close.
It's a very close race. It's a very close race if we are to believe the polls.
3 months ago, if you had to open a political show,
right?
Would you have imagined to say that this is a close race?
No, but I mean, and I got to tell you, that there's one thing that I think that the Middle East teaches us, that whenever you think you figured it out, don't. You know, they always come back and bites you in the behind.
It's a complicated reality.
It's a complicated reality. But Rabbi Kariv, I got to tell you, fascinating things. I can't wait to see how this plays out. And you have primaries coming up on the 14th of, I believe.
January 13th.
13th, yes. And you're vying to get into the Labour Party. Right. And if you do get in, I'd like to ask you to be as vocal as you were this morning here in the studio, out in the campaigning field.
It will be the first time that a reform or a progressive rabbi sits in the Knesset, and this is one of the...
No, one of the main things. We didn't even touch on that, because we think that's ever going to fly?
Yeah. Yeah.
With the rabbinical courts, I'm sorry.
Look,
Ron, this is our editor also here to do the press, but I think it's a question you would be asking with me again. Totally. With the rabbinical courts in Israel, do you think a reform point of view would ever,
Look, yesterday I said in one of the Israeli channels that people will be surprised to find out how many Israeli Knesset members today, and not only from Meretz and the Labour Party, also from the Likud, choose an egalitarian synagogue, a reform or a conservative synagogue, to celebrate the bar mitzvah of their children. So I think that there is a quiet revolution in Israel.
A very silent one.
So my duty is take this revolution into the Knesset and make it more vocal.
Many of the people I know, including myself, might be recognized as married people if that comes about. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. You're welcome to stay, because we're moving to the press review. That is the day that is. With us, the news you missed while scanning the headlines. With us is Ron Friedman, editor of this show, sitting in for Tony Grant, who's somewhere in Alaska.
That's where he is now. Well, he's following Santa.
He's following Santa all the time. Yes, but what do we have in press?
All right. Well, we're still got the last touches of Christmas season.
Yes.
Yesterday was
not
Christmas, Boxing Day.
Yeah.
Not for Mr. Kariv, but around the world, and even in China. That's where we begin today. The New York Times has a report: Chinese hit back against foreign intrusion. Christmas. So.
Really? Seriously? Christmas is a foreign intrusion? Okay.
Well, look, we know, China has been a communist country for decades.
I know, but isn't China where they make all the Christmas presents?
It's a bit of a paradox going on there, because yes, for the public has kind of adopted it. There's every mall you'll go, you'll see Yuletide and Christmas trees.
Yes.
The Christmas music. It's an easy sell. It's
America,
one of America's or the Christian world's
favorite pastimes.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Top brands. But not everybody is going along with it. This
and all in red, I can see. We are socialists. Do not bring us your Christmas. Yes.
Yeah. The New York Times describe it as Chinese culture is fighting back with a Scrooge-like zeal. So it's a nice turn of phrase there.
Yeah.
What we're talking about is an anti-Christmas pageant held at university.
It's a foreign intrusion Christmas. I really, I have to say it, and I know I have a rabbi in studio right now, but Christmas is such a fun holiday. It is. It's a fun holiday.
Well, we are celebrating the birthday of a great Jew.
A great Jew, exactly. And that claim got us very far throughout history.
We've been talking a bit about this week about Christian persecution in the Middle East. There's a touch of that in China going on as well. This report, I hadn't heard about it. I don't know if you had, but
no.
In one province in particular, they're tearing down churches, taking crosses off existing buildings. Strange stuff. And we're talking about a country that has 100 million Chinese Christians.
Christians, exactly. It's a country that actually had, the success of the Catholic Church there was quite massive. But yes, moving on.
Another Christmas story from Asia. We've got The Independent talking about this Great story.
Yeah.
Christmas comes early to Hong Kong as millions of banknotes spill into a busy street. So this is a bank truck carrying millions of dollars in Hong Kong currency. It's not clear exactly what happened. The money fell out of the truck, spread over like an 8-lane highway.
Well, look at that.
And yeah, we can see.
Oh, that's fabulous.
You know, people
that really is Christmas came early. Are those? I mean, but. Santa's alive.
And look,
Santa
it's even a
exists.
red and white truck, a red and white car there for Santa colors.
And I love it how they're all like very, very timidly coming like, oh, okay, I'm going to come up.
So we don't know if these are people that took the money, that picked the money up and took it home.
What do you think? Come on.
But apparently a lot of the money was actually retrieved and returned to the vehicle. We're talking about altogether $2 million that were lost, but we don't know how many fell from the truck.
Wow.
Lots of money.
No, that's fabulous.
And the police came out and urged the public to return the money because failure to do that would mean they're thieves. I don't know if they can ever follow up on that, but you know, it's a nice sentiment.
It's a very nice sentiment. I'm going to look at them looking for the money somewhere in the woods. That's fabulous.
Yeah, the police explanations, we believe the money dropped. They don't know what.
Money dropped.
Yeah.
Money dropped. Yes, that happens to me with $2 million. What is it? How much? $2 million.
The equivalent of $2 million.
The equivalent of $2 million happens to me every single day. Yes, and
I wish. All right, next, Turkey. El Arabiya has a story for us. A Turkish student was arrested for insulting President Erdogan. You know, over the last few weeks, we've heard about crackdown on media, on
crackdown on everything,
on critics.
Yeah.
This is a 16-year-old kid. He gave a speech. You know, nothing really directly to do with Erdogan. It was talking about a story from the 1930s. 16 and arrested. He could face 4 years in prison. And you know, so no criticism.
Sultan, I mean, I can sit here. I'm going to say this, and I can sit here in the studio in Jaffa and say that Erdogan, in my mind, has lost the plot. You know, to put it mildly, but it's a frightening thing to look at that, and to look at also, I would say, also Egypt in the last several.
In the Al Jazeera story.
And the Al Jazeera story, and the fact that this is becoming actually a modus operandi, and it's okay for the people of Turkey. But okay, yes.
Now he is coming under criticism, European Union, other Western countries,
but he doesn't care.
No,
he doesn't care.
Dictators for you.
Yeah, dictators for you. You said it. One last one.
All right. We have a story coming out of the Washington Post, a new issue of the jihadist magazine Inspire. You know, they put this out once every few months, quarterly. This is the 13th one since 2010. It's a propaganda tool.
Clearly, I love the jihadist magazine. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this comes out of an affiliate based out of Yemen. Right. One of the main topics of this edition was suggesting targeting major American figures and Western commercial airliners as terror targets.
And do not try to get a subscription for that magazine. Frightening. Ron Friedman, the press review for this morning. Merry Christmas to you as well with this doom and destruction. But the Chinese story was fabulous. Thank you for being with us. Rabbi Karib, I want to thank you very much for being with us. I want to wish you luck in the primaries. Stay with us. The best of the morning edition from the past week. This Christmas week is coming up. First, though, let's hear some more of the morning headlines. Good morning, I-24 News. December 26th, it is a Friday. Many in the world will say it is Christmas Friday, a day after Christmas and Christmas weekend. In the Middle East this week also, another holiday was marked, and that's Hanukkah, so Christmas and Hanukkah in the same week. But this Friday, we are giving you the best of how those holidays were celebrated throughout Israel and the region. So coming up in the next hour and a half is the best segments we had this week on I-24 News Morning Edition. Stay with us. We have priests, we have dreidels, we have Hanukkah candles. It's going to be fun. It's everything you missed. Stay with us. This is still the Morning Edition. I am Stilia Elevi, and thank you for staying with us. It is Christmas, and Pope Francis sent a Christmas letter of solidarity yesterday to the Christians of the Middle East, describing them as victims of a newer and disturbing terrorist organization of previously unimaginable dimensions, which has perpetrated all kinds of abuses and human acts. And that is a quote from the letter of the pontiff. Though he did not name ISIS, the reference to the rise of the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria was clear. The Pope wrote that Christians in the area have been brutally driven out of their native lands, where they have been present since apostolic times. Now, because it's Christmas Eve today, and the holiest days for those of Christian persuasion and celebrated around the world, but as the Holy Father mentioned yesterday, the Christians of this region have seen better days. Their communities dwindled in the last decades, but in the war-torn areas of Iraq and Syria, they are dangerously persecuted. We are going to discuss Christmas in many happy ways very shortly, but we are first joined from Jerusalem itself by I-24 News. Matthias. We are joined by I-24 News. Good morning to you. Matthias is with us at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and I want to touch with you a little bit because we have been discussing the persecution of Christians in the Middle East over the course of the last several years, but also specifically now. As you're standing there, are there more people this time of year, do you think, near the Church of the Holy Sepulchre? And what are the Christians of the Middle East facing this time of year?
Actually, you have to talk to people, Christians here in this neighborhood. Standing here in the new gates of Jerusalem, in front of the Notre Dame Center, one of the main places of Christians in the old city of Jerusalem. And you can understand how they feel, how they're reacting about the place of Christians in the Middle East. I've talked to them and I said, what can I do here? I'm not Jewish, I'm not Muslim, they are making war one to another. And I'm in the middle. I'm not Israeli, I'm not Palestinian. How can I do here? We escaped completely Bethlehem. That less and less Christians all over the last years in Bethlehem. There's an increase of 1 or 2% this year of tourism, Christian tourism in Bethlehem. And you can see also one of the high responsible Notre Dame Center talked to me and said all the Christians in the Middle East are in a tough situation because of ISIS, Yazidis in Iraq, Christians in Syria. You can remember a couple of months ago the village of Ma'amullah, where there were a tough fight between Christians and Assad fighter against ISIS ones. So you can understand the situation in worse and worse during the last years. No,
definitely. And Matthias Sinbar with us in Jerusalem, standing there. Though this morning, where you're standing, what is the ambiance in Jerusalem this morning?
Actually, you can see behind me one of the shops open very early in the morning and trying to sell Christmas trees and a lot of gifts for children. You can see, for example, the Christmas tree. I can ask my cameraman David to film this Christmas tree in the heart of the old city of Jerusalem. And what we can say actually that you can see people behind me, but in a couple of hours, around 11 or 12 a.m., there will be no one here. All the people will come to Bethlehem. You can say that, Bethlehem is far from here, about 10 kilometers, so it's very close. And they're going to spend all day long in Bethlehem. Well, there'll be a huge prayer around midnight tonight. Right. And to be not politically correct, when I ask people what they're going to do tomorrow for the day of Christmas, they answered me that we're not going to celebrate the party, but trying to download the film, the controversial film, The Interview in the United States.
Okay, Matthias Sinbar joining us from Jerusalem. Thank you very much. We'll touch base with you also throughout the day, this Christmas day in the Holy Land. Speaking of Bethlehem, we're joined in studio by Franciscan custody of the Holy Land, Father Angelo Ison? Ison, I'm pronouncing your name right. Good morning to you, Father Ison. An honor to have you with us. And also by Middle East and Africa correspondent, Global Sisters Report, Melanie Lindman. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
And we'll touch a bit about Christian tourism in the Holy Land. But speaking of Bethlehem, that Matthias Sinbar mentioned, for many years, you, Father Ison, you were actually the master of ceremony when it comes to
Not really. I am just the one in charge of the diplomatic corps. Okay. So one of them. On the side of the Palestinian Authority, President Abbas, and the 4 consul generals of Italy, France, Spain, and Belgium. They had the privileges for many, many years. They're the ones who can sit they're the only ones who are allowed to sit with their families and the ministers at the Basilica of the Nativity on December 24 midnight mass.
And the midnight mass, December 24th, today is the mass, right?
Yes.
It's the most important mass.
The most important mass with the patriarch.
Now, I'm asking, questions that only a Jew would ask, but it's essentially
yes, it's the most important.
The most important mass, and in Bethlehem, I think I remember covering Bethlehem for many years, the midnight mass. People, don't understand how if you're a Christian around the world, you can spend years working to save money to get to Bethlehem right at this time of year.
That's true.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, when it comes to these Christian, when it comes to the Christian tourism, numbers of Christian tourism in the Holy Land this year, on the rise or on the fall?
Well, tourism overall in Israel fell between 1% and 7% this year because of the situation, the war this summer in Gaza. Last year, there were 3.5 million tourists that came to Israel, and 60% of those tourists were Christian. So Christian tourism is a huge financial aspect for Israel. But I think that the country is really losing an opportunity on Christmas. The tourism ministry said there's about 70,000 Christian tourists who are coming specifically for Christmas. Matias mentioned that if you walk around the old city tonight, Christmas Eve, it's completely shuttered. There's nobody there. There's really very few opportunities for tourists to experience Christmas in Jerusalem. You can go to Bethlehem. I've been to Bethlehem. I haven't covered it, but I've been kind of as a tourist, and I didn't know that you need to get tickets to attend the Mass. So I just spent hours.
Father, I said, yes, you do?
Yes, so that was news to me as a tourist. And
it's okay. In the United States, it was news to me that you need to buy a ticket to a synagogue if you're a Jew.
That's also true.
There's that, okay.
But you just spend hours and hours waiting outside, and there's very few opportunities, and there's very few infrastructure to celebrate, to help tourists celebrate Christmas in Israel and the Palestinian territories.
The Palestinian territories, and I'm assuming you would agree, Father Eisen, that it should be actually more open. Is it hard to get Christian community to Bethlehem? At the end of the day, there is access. You and I discussed this, but we can't forget that Bethlehem is also covered by a wall. It's surrounded by a wall. Is there any kind of attempts also by the Vatican or by the Christian community to try and ease and make sure that especially as Melanie says, it's kind of a lost opportunity also for tourism, right?
Yes.
Are there attempts to try and make that situation easier that the church is trying to push?
Yes.
How so?
Well, we asked. I bring when I was the chaplain of the Philippine chaplaincy for many years. I always asked the authorities, Israeli authorities, and the governor of Bethlehem, who's Jewish, and and the government to allow the pilgrims to Bethlehem on December 25, for one day, just to get through. And we were successful.
You successful. Christmas Day, December 25th.
Christmas Day, and they don't ask for visas or anything. Just as long as you're not an Israeli, because it was forbidden before, during those times. But now you can still go, and they allow it,
Which is a hopeful thing.
You just have to ask the permission, or you give them the advance notice that there's going to be 25 buses passing through the checkpoint, and they're very helpful, So perfect.
This year, the tourism ministry is actually organizing free shuttles from downtown Jerusalem to Bethlehem, and they have kind of an interesting initiative where anyone passing through the checkpoint at Rachel's tomb is going to get a Ministry of Tourism Christmas goodie bag.
Yes. It was very nice. It was a surprise,
So
do we know what's in that goodie bag?
I cannot. I don't know what's in that goodie bag.
Chocolates.
I believe that's
chocolate. Aha!
Good chocolate.
We have Yom Kippur. When we can't
Listen. I think hands down, Christmas also much better holiday than Hanukkah. Nothing against any type of religion, but look at this. This is so pretty. And we get oil in a donut. But yes, so we know that it's chocolate. Everybody's staying in studio as we are moving to Tal Heinrich with the Spiral Viral. That's a web review. But I want to take a look. Let's start with what you have, because you're promoting your own show, which is Focus, that deals with Christmas.
So you want to start with Focus?
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with it.
Let's start with Focus.
So this week we decided to bring the show out of the studio due to Christmas and bring the lovely atmosphere from Nazareth, the the childhood home of Jesus, and where he spent his first 13 years.
We have 13 years?
13 years.
Yes.
You see, I've done my homework.
Yes, you did.
So our first interview was the real Santa Claus, actually. Yes, I got the opportunity to speak to him.
You sat with Santa?
He lives in Lapland.
Good.
And in Santa Claus Village, and they're actually very busy on every other day of the year, not only during Christmas time. And I asked Santa, what would be your request for a gift if you could ask for one thing for yourself? And let's see what he replied.
What did Santa have to say?
If I could ask one thing that would make me happy forever is that all the children could have the right and the possibility to learn to read.
Wait, what does Santa want? Every child needs to read.
To read and to learn how to write and read.
Amen to that.
That's a lovely wish.
Although I have to say, and once again, I'm glad that we have an expert here, that I'm sure that if you asked every child around the world what they want for Christmas, it wouldn't be a book these days, would it?
No.
Nah. Yes!
No, not bike, not bike, not book.
Apparently, most of the people in Jerusalem want the interview for Christmas.
No, maybe that's in the goodie bag of the tourism ministry. Yes.
So our second pit stop on Focus this week was the Basilica of the Annunciation, also a church in Nazareth, which was built at the place where, according to the Roman Catholic tradition, Angel Gabriel announced to the Virgin Mary that she would conceive and become the mother of Jesus, the Son of God.
Is she right?
That's true, yes.
Yes. A good explanation.
Yes.
I can explain about Moses and better, but
long holiday.
Yeah. Yes. And then there we met with Father Bruno, who is the head of this church, and we talked to him also about the persecution of Christians all over the Middle East, but I asked him actually about Pope Francis. How can he explain the fact that this Pope infused so many new energies into the Catholic Church and also maybe acquired a status of a worldwide celebrity, not only for Christian believers.
No.
So let's see.
Let's see what Father Bruno of the Church of the Annunciation had to say.
Pope Francis is charismatic. He's charismatic not only within the Church. Pope Francis is charismatic for the whole world. Eternally, with love, he appeals to all humanity. He breaks down barriers. Pope Francis does not like the security measures, since he wants to meet the people. And this means Pope Francis is greatly supported among people.
Well, Father Eisen, you know Father Bruno, I'm assuming, of course.
He's a guardian of we call them guardian.
Guardians. Okay.
Guardian of the Basilica and Monastery of the Annunciation. A Brazilian, very fine Brazilian priest.
Very fine Brazilian. And I think, what Tal and Heinrich said about Pope Francis, we can definitely say that he has achieved already in the short time that he's been Pope, he's achieved the status that, much more so, don't answer that, I know you can't, but much more so than the previous Pope, that his appeal is massive, right? Why do you think that's the case? Why do you think he's so loved by even us, the Jews?
Yes, because he has a good heart, really, and down to earth.
Right. Right.
He brought the church back to the people. Really, he's a great person, and
I think all very valid points. We've covered him many times.
Yeah.
Down to the people, and actually, Christmas is also for the people in many ways. Right.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the Church of the Annunciation, I wanted to take it back to you a little bit, Tal Heinrich. Father Bruno. So you spoke to him about when he said about Nazareth, and Melanie as well. Nazareth itself gets more tourists than Bethlehem throughout this time of year, maybe because it's more accessible. We don't know that.
Bethlehem actually attracts about 86% of all the tourists, of all Christian tourists. It's the number 2 site after Jerusalem. Jerusalem gets about 90%. I think Nazareth is also up there, about 80%. The vast majority of Christian tourists who come here as pilgrims are here on an 8-day trip, and they'll see both of those places.
Everything, right.
The atmosphere there is it's great. For me, it felt like being abroad.
No, in the Church of the Annunciation.
Yeah. And the entire atmosphere, throughout the city, just beautiful, very beautiful. There's a huge Christmas tree. They had different shows.
Yeah, and places to remind people to be in. That was the Christmas time that we have, sadly. We're almost done. I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. I was about to sing something about Christmas, but I will spare you. So that's it for this block, though. Father Eisen, thank you for being with us. Same to you, and Tal, always a pleasure. Welcome back. It's still Monday, December 22nd, 2014. This is still the morning edition. Last I checked, I'm Yael Avi. Thank you for staying with us, because this one's going to be a doozy, we say in English. Tal Shalev is so excited that she's actually finding it hard to breathe right next to me. Okay, it's Hanukkah. Jews in Israel and around the world are celebrating Hanukkah, the festival of lights, one to combat Christmas, commemorating the Jewish revolt against the Greeks in the 2nd century before Christ and their rededication of the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. That's all I know about Hanukkah. Above all, eating lots of carbs, okay? One of the more charming traditions of the holiday is the dreidel, a children's story that ensures that the young ones don't lose interest with all the talk of retaining religious identity and resisting assimilation. Something that many people in politics nowadays, I think, are finding very relevant. The origin of the game dates back to the time when studying Torah was punishable by death and Jews used top spinning as a cover for their study. Now, that all I just read to you guys from a prompt. I'm going to leave that aside because we are joined in studio by dreidel artist Eran Grebler. Perfect. Lovely. Tal Shalev is with me. I'm just trying to embarrass her. I-24 News diplomatic correspondent. Eran Grebler, he owns the biggest dreidel store in the world. Not just in Israel, not just in the Middle East, in the world. He's right. It's right here in Israel. Good morning to you. Happy Hanukkah, Eran.
Good morning.
I mean, I really think that we need to move to all the stuff that is spinning out here on the table. And actually, yes, there is one here. Yeah, this is the, we're going to introduce this dreidel. It's a beautiful, beautiful dreidel.
This is a dreidel for beginners.
For beginners.
So when you come to my gallery in Sarona, Tel Aviv, you have to spin this dreidel. Spin it.
No, I don't want to spin. I'll tell you why. Because I'm here to embarrass Tal Shalev. This is a dreidel that says blessing on it. Yeah. Okay. And it has all kinds of blessing and things that you want. And Tal Shalev has many, many things she wants, one of them including John Kerry. But that said, you have to spin it very, very, very lightly. Very lightly. Very lightly. And
no, spin it. Don't be afraid.
Spin it all the way? All the way. Spin.
Spin it. And when it stops, you got a nice blessing.
We'll get the blessing.
Tal,
you're getting success.
Success.
Actually, it's divided between success and health.
Yeah, that's not what I was hoping for, but thank you, Yael, for your greeting.
No, thank you for that. Very much concerned for you. Tell me about these dreidels. They're incredible, but it's not something that I would give my 2-year-old, right?
No.
Okay. You do them yourself?
Yes, of course. I do. I make dreidels a lot of years, more than 30 years.
Right.
And I used to sell them to all the world. And my dream was to make a dreidel house that everyone that come to my gallery can
spinning again.
Can spin a dreidel and see.
And see what comes out.
Yes, but the idea is when I've been with in my gallery.
Yes, no. I'm spinning along. Yes, I'm doing something here with my hand on the side. When people come to your gallery.
When people come to my gallery, they're allowed to touch the things. The difference is that people can
actually feel the dreidel. I mean, I gotta say, these are dreidels that are not, they're not your. In Hebrew, it's a miracle, a great miracle happened here.
Yes,
right.
I have the
you have the traditional ones, right?
Yes,
you have the real
traditional one.
Okay, which we're spinning and we can't show. I mean, I'll just put it on my hand. It's gorgeous stuff. It's gorgeous, gorgeous stuff.
Thanks. It's all my works, and it's all made in Israel, not in China.
Don't tell that to the North Koreans, okay? And and all handmade. Is there a big demand for dreidels still? Because I always feel with Hanukkah, I have to say, that it's the holidays, it's the Jewish holiday that tries to combat Christmas, and you can't really do that in many ways because Christmas is so, it's colorful. It's got the present mark. This comes close because on the other hand, we have donuts. Just look, don't eat. We're not allowed to eat them. No. I still don't get the idea behind, a load of carb with jam in it. But we have the dreidel that tries to combat Christmas. And you are actually doing it. Is there a demand for these dreidels? That's what I wonder.
Yes, of course. I have 800 kinds of dreidels. This one is a man's dreidel, what to say to women. The men have to spin it and tell you what you got.
And tell you what you've got. Once again, Tal Shalev is going to be
good at this dreidel model.
The dreidel model. Okay. Exactly. There we go. What to say to a woman, and this is a woman who knows what men should say. So this is what she got. I miss you a lot. That is, somebody misses you. I think it might be John Kerry.
Many men
It might be John Kerry.
And this one is excuses for a married woman.
Excuses for a married woman?
That's for you.
Yes, read it. Read it.
Okay, hold on. I love you, but I've had a hard day. I use that daily.
It's daily.
Yeah. I have a headache. Always. Honey, maybe tomorrow. I didn't say a word. I have no idea what this is about. I really have no idea.
You forgot to say yes, sure.
Yes, sure. Honey, maybe tomorrow. Yes, sure.
You forgot the other choice.
The other choice, not today.
Very small statistics. That's the one that the spinning top will follow.
What else do we have here? This is actually brilliant.
This is
the cat dreidel.
After mouth.
Okay.
This is a dreidel with a happy hand.
With a happy ending?
Happy ending.
Depends for whom. I'm not sure the mouse.
The mouse agrees, exactly. A dreidel with a happy ending. That's the way you should market them. Do they ship abroad as well? Do they sell abroad? These dreidels?
of course. I sell it a lot to a lot of places all over the world.
And what do you do throughout the rest of the year? It's an interesting thing. I mean,
most of the dreidels are not for Hanukkah. This one for blessing and for a woman.
For a woman, what to say, exactly. Okay.
I have 800 choices, so it's not only for Hanukkah. And the gallery is in Sarona, Tel Aviv.
Is there any other thing like a dreidel in other cultures, not a Jewish culture? Did they have like games like this in other cultures?
Yes, of course. The dreidels are not
not exclusive to Jews?
No. So I know. In my gallery in Sarona, I have a sign that explains all the history of the dreidels, and it's not from the Jews.
But is it from the region? Is it from the Middle East?
No, it's the first one from Sicily.
From Sicily?
Yes.
It's much more exotic now.
Dreidel, I made it out of pasta? Okay, yes, I'm going to leave that one alone. But you are staying with us because these are fabulous, and I think we can actually have a play with them when it comes to how it connects to politics this year. I mean, it's these dreidels that are outstanding and are hard to pick from. When it comes to Israeli politics, I'm not so sure. Stay with us. Because this year, Hanukkah coincides with the elections campaign season. And when holidays and election mix, it often, results in much fodder for us in the media and for all the updates from the political front, because it is the holiday season. I think in the holiday seasons, politicians actually have the opportunity to showcase, right?
Well, it's the second time, actually, in the past few years that the Hanukkah specifically falls on like a few weeks before the election or a few months before the elections. So I have to say, for me, it's the second time I've been, I have to deal with all of these on a daily basis. But think about the Israeli politicians. They have, some of them have primary elections coming up. They have to every evening go and meet with the party activists and eat lots of donuts. I can bet you that every Israeli politician gains about 1 or 2 kilos in this week of Hanukkah. But basically, it is this year. It is the politicians' holiday, and we made a short report summing up how it looks. If we can take a look.
Let's take a look at Tal Shalev's report.
Whether it's the smell of the fresh potato pancakes or the plunge of the donuts, Hanukkah, the Jewish festival of lights, is one of the most popular holidays of the year. Israeli politicians are especially fond of the December festivities, and even more when the holiday comes just as the election campaign begins. Think about it. 8 nights of candle lighting, lots of good food, and merry songs. What a great opportunity to meet with party activists and rally political support. Hanukkah is a minor religious festival, but one with many political and social meanings. It commemorates a miraculous rededication of the Second Temple by the Maccabees, a group of courageous warriors that defeated the far more powerful Syrian Greek army. The symbolic victory of light over darkness and Jewish liberation overcoming foreign oppression creates a legacy that is easy for modern interpretation.
This is the spirit of the Maccabees. The guardian of Israel will neither slumber nor sleep.
While the Israeli Prime Minister hails the lesson of military self-defense, others prefer to highlight other traditions and symbolic customs. Tzipi Livni, aiming to replace the premier, tried her luck with the dreidel, a spinning top with 4 Hebrew letters, which together stand for a great miracle happened here.
Whatever the public does, it won't be a miracle. We remember the miracles of the past, but our job is to care for the reality and the future.
In election time, everything can be disputed, even the modern relevance of holiday symbols. One thing is agreed. Everyone will be happy to get their own political Hanukkah miracle.
Quickly, before we continue, that would be the Sarona Dreidel shop. Tzipi Livni, striking hard, heart of Tel Aviv, this would be that shop, definitely.
And how symbolic is it that Tzipi Livni didn't go to just a traditional candle lighting, but she went to a spin contest?
Okay. Rum-pum-pum.
Rum-pum-pum.
Yes.
But the great, Hanukkah isn't only celebrated in Israel. Every foreign leader, the White House jumps in, Joe Biden jumps in, everyone jumps in. Yeah,
okay.
Everyone jumps in to host their own Hanukkah candle lighting because it is a very nice holiday, we have to say. It's not a harsh, it's not a strict religious holiday.
It's not, because I always feel that Jewish holidays are, like sum up in the same way. We get together and, tell the story about everybody tried to kill us. Our God prevailed, he killed them, let's eat.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
So and we have to spend some few hours with our family, which for some of us isn't that much fun.
No, what are you talking about? Yes.
Yes. One of the surprising greetings of this Hanukkah holiday was from a person we discussed just a few weeks ago, the Indian Prime Minister, Narendra Modi.
Yes.
Look, so me, Tal Shalev, sitting on Friday afternoon, just browsing through Twitter, and look who greets us in Hebrew. Narendra Modi, the Indian Prime Minister.
Look at that.
Wishing my Jewish friends a happy Hanukkah. May this festival of lights and the festive season ring in peace, hope, and well-being for all. And look who answers him.
Look who answers. The Prime Minister of Israel.
The Prime Minister in Israel, in Indian. So I think that's what I call the diplomacy.
Does Israel have peace with India? It does, right?
It has a very good relationship with India. And this is actually getting closer and just a very, very good example for this good relationship. But if we're talking about candles, then I think we almost missed it out last week, but definitely the song of the week goes to the Israeli Prime Minister, who has a Walla website, the Israeli website, is making a big project of all of the 2014 best songs. So they took the song Chandelier by Sia.
By far one of the best songs of 2014.
Well,
the overplayed video.
And Netanyahu's version is quite good. And let's hear it.
Do we have that? Yeah, let's take a look.
Hurt, can't feel anything. When I push it down, I'm the one for a good time. Phone's blowing up, ringing my doorbell. I feel the love, One, two, three, drink. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink. Grow them back till I lose count. I'm gonna swing from the chandelier.
The only thing that it's missing to me, because what I have running in my head right now is Bibi Netanyahu in a white tank top. Playing in the Sia, the famous video, right? That's the image that they have. It's Bibi Netanyahu swinging from a chandelier. Wait, we're spinning the dreidel. I'm spinning it.
He actually really liked it.
Yeah.
He liked it. The Prime Minister himself liked it. But even Sia liked it. She tweeted. We saw our tweet by mistake a bit earlier. She tweeted, "Holy moly, this is amazing." That was her tweet.
How did Sia get to see? Well, who did this, by the way?
Walla website.
The Walla website.
The Walla website. Two of their creative editors.
That is amazing. And the fact that Sia, I was about to say, Sia clearly Netanyahu clearly has a supporter with Sia, but maybe she too, like you, Tal Shalev, sits on Friday and like screams through.
Or maybe she knows how, like me, she knows how to identify good quality immediately
videos
when she sees it. I mean, this one was a hit. It started a viral hit immediately when it was posted on the Walla website.
And it's quite genius.
And it's quite genius. It really is exquisite. Some of the things we can be proud of.
It's exquisite. And I have to say, when Walla does something like that, it's something I'm wondering out with you. It's almost like a campaign video in a little bit. Right?
Netanyahu is definitely happy. Yeah,
he's going like that. Okay, so that's them. Does this campaign? But continue. You had something to say.
No,
but does the campaign season, when it falls on the holiday like this, and as you said at the beginning, very rightfully so, it gives all the politicians almost a platform to go around and campaign in a way that is very, very visual. In this day and age, who's doing best? Because every time I have you in studio, I'm wondering out loud with you. Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Well, Naftali Bennett, because he's still riding on the fame of his last week's no apology video. Bennett has definitely, at the moment, found the best slogan, or at least the most catchiest slogan of the elections, not apologizing. Every video of his is not apologizing, and that does appeal to a big part of the Israeli psyche.
That said, we are about to wrap this half hour. This is amazing. Go to the Sarona, if you're in Israel, go to the Sarona shop of the dreidel spinning. Tal Shalev, my model here, please spin this as we get out of this half hour and move into, first the news, but then the sports. Stay with us because we'll have the answer of what the future of Tal Shalev holds as we get back. Good morning. Thank you for staying with us. It is December 22nd. It is officially 10 days to the New Year's? Something like that, right? It's 10 days to the New Year's. It's going to be 2015. That's a frightening number. And you're here with us on I-24 News Morning Edition. It's the place to be, and I'll tell you why. She was gone. She wasn't here. She left us last week, but she's back. Hello. And we have to embarrass I-24 News editor and feminist expert and the woman here tell you anything and everything you need to know about the battle for equality, which we're still waging. It's Karen Kirsch. Yes. And by the way, Karen, I'm just reminded that, we started the show with President Obama, who gave a year-ender speech in the United States. And one of the things that he did, and I want you and myself to actually look a bit closely at it, he spent the entire presser just addressing the women journalists and answering only women journalists, and even being very personal with them. Do we have it? I think we do. And let's take a look at Obama talking to a Belgian woman in the press on Friday at the White House.
And by the way, I hear you're moving to Europe. Where are you going to be?
Brussels.
Brussels?
Yes. Helping Politico start a new publication.
Well, congratulations.
I've been covering you since the beginning, so.
Well, I think
it's been a long road.
I think there's no doubt that what Belgium needs is a version of Politico. Yeah, the waffles are delicious.
It always makes me wonder if it would be the same if it were a man.
A man, I know. Would it be the same if it were a man? I think, I read the headlines about the American president addressing just the women in the audience over that presser on Friday, and I found it very sweet. And then I thought, I don't know. I don't know if they need one day specifically in the year.
Yeah.
Now, what does it spell to you?
I'm not exactly. I don't remember what's the makeup of the press corps in the White House. I think
a lot of men.
A lot of men, but I think the number of women is growing even there, because it's one of these things. As press is going down and the prestige of being a journalist is going down. You have more women in the White House.
As the profession is losing its ground, more women are entering it. Yes. Now we can make it more available for women, definitely. But you're here with, I think the old age, ancient news of a woman who's successful, FYI, in business, is alternatively and immediately deemed a
swear word. I'll say it because that's my role.
She's called a bitch. Okay. Yes. Yeah. It's one bitch to another.
Yes.
Not that we're successful.
Such a,
I know. Tell me, where does that stand nowadays?
Well, that's actually a viral video that's been running by three students from Columbia Business School. Nice. I think it's. I'm not sure if it's number 3 or number 4.
I think it's number 3. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Mm-hmm.
Not what it used to be, you know. I'm a semi-graduate of
Columbia. Yeah. Columbia now now an Ivy League at the bottom of 3 of the list.
Yes, they're doing. They did a viral video based on Megan, which I don't remember the. You know, I'm a bae.
Okay, let's take a look, and it will come to us. This is the viral video about women in the business world from Colombia. Let's take a look.
And my mama, she told me that boys prefer girls who smile. Don't worry about brains, just twerk those feminine wiles. You know I won't be no soft-spoken, timid, doormat cliche. Because the harder I work, then the harder I get to play. Because come on, you know that I'm a bitch. Bottle popping, you know that I'm a bitch. Briefs dropping, you know that I'm a bitch. In business, you know that I'm a bitch in charge. Glass ceiling's gonna fall, 'cause I'm a goddamn human wrecking ball. Don't make me mute you on this conference call. My time is money, and bitch, I won't be resting till my name is on the wall. Yeah, I don't have a dick, but that doesn't make me a fool.
High five me. I will not rest till my name is on that wall.
No, and then there are quite a few one-liners in this
definitely,
video.
and I'm a human wrecking ball.
Yes.
I mean, likey. I got to say, Tal Heinrich obviously still with us in studio. You were a bit shiny before, but we had makeup put on you. I'm sharing everything with the audience.
Another female journalist. And she's going to speak about sports
in a second. I'm just saying, I wanted to introduce you because when I'm looking at that video, and I think that people will poo-poo us that, things are changing. First of all, it's necessary. Tell me more about who brought this up.
Well, the girls who sort of did that, it's part of something they do in the end of each year. But the thing is that they're trying to protest, and it is a protest, and it's a nice protest. And the original video, Meghan Trainor's video, is about body image, and it's kind of very cutie and pastel. and in this video, they're really saying like hardcore stuff.
Hardcore stuff. Yeah.
Which most of it I can't even quote.
And they start with they start with the pastel. I love also the use of men as the icons of sexual sexual attraction.
I have to read you one line. I'm going to see if I can sort of,
bleep out. Just say bleep
out.
Yeah, what you can't read. Yeah.
Okay, now making these suits look good while I close that wage gap is not so, but business is for boys.
Yeah.
Tell that to my stay-home beep toy.
Nice.
I love that. Okay.
No, it's brilliant. But touching on this issue directly, because that video is great, and I love that it starts pinkish and kind of like the 50s. Yeah. They're wearing all these dresses where a woman was, in the kitchen with my new oven, whatnot, and the words that you say. But a major point in this day and age is that women who are successful in any type of business
are definitely considered.
The B word.
The B word, and it's more than that. I think we've spoken about it at least once, that all the studies show that while a man who comes for a job interview and appears to be, let's say, cocky,
right,
he would be considered a talent or somebody to look out for, and she would be considered a problem.
A problem, arrogant, overstepping her boundaries, doing all the things as if, who does she think she is?
Yeah.
Who does she think she is?
And there's also an inherent, like the radical feminist would say, well, this is a problem. Because they say at some point in this video, if I'm a bitch, I'm doing something right. Okay? The radical feminist would say, no, that means we're still way off.
Way behind. And I'm wondering also if it only comes from men, because I got to tell you, from personal experience, when you look at it's not.
No.
It's women in the workforce, when they see another woman being promoted or when they see a woman that is, gaining traction, they will join on the chorus of, it's, she's hardcore, she's dead, she's arrogant.
They will sometimes be even more vocal.
Even worse, exactly.
And I think our biggest problem as women is that we don't do enough networking and women promotion as women to say, this is a cause, this is my cause, I don't mind doing it, it doesn't
Exactly. No, exactly. Video, though, beautiful and lovely. Tal Heinrich is sitting here going, okay.
No, I was trying to think, what's my attitude towards this?
Yeah, what is your attitude towards it?
No, I'm just saying, I never had the opportunity to interview somebody for a job, but I think I will address it the same.
The same way?
I mean...
No, as you should.
I'm trying to think, but I don't know. Maybe you interviewed people before.
Yeah. That said, Tal Heinrich here with the viral spiral that is the web review. Because we're going to finish on a slightly lighter note. It's been slightly a depressing Monday when it comes to news around the world.
Oh, so I'm so glad I insisted on this video.
No, very much so. And you know what? From one bitch to another. Thank you. But you are locked in the studio with us, and we're moving to you. I'm not going to call you the B word, but you want to be one. Trust me.
Well, yes. Of course. I want to start with the holidays. I know you've spoken about the holidays before, but let's start with Christmas. And I brought you two lovely videos, which involved the game of basketball, which I love, and Christmas. So the first one is a very nice initiative that took place in the Italian Basketball League for the first time. It's called Teddy Bear Toss. I don't know if you heard about it. It's coming.
Like literally a teddy bear?
Teddy Bear Toss, yeah. It's coming. It came from ice hockey and the entire Italian
Teddy Bear
League.
Toss night in Italian basketball.
We have a video to.
Let's take a look at the video.
Once the game starts and the first basket is scored, then all the fans start throwing teddy bears on the court.
Let's take a look at the video.
All right.
I got peace deep in my soul. I got love making me whole. Saving to go and up your heart and shine on me. I got peace deep in my soul. I got love.
Yeah, this was in Olympia, Milano, but also in Bologna.
It's the Woodstock of teddy bears.
And of course, somebody gathers all these teddy bears, and then the players go to hospitals and they bring it to children, to charity, and it's amazing. We should do it here. We should do it here in Israel. Seriously.
No, we really should. We really should.
The second, I don't know if you're fans of the NBA, but
I think we're about to become fans of the NBA.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or let's fake it.
Another Christmas tradition is the Christmas Day matchups, which are very attractive, and there's always like a double-header broadcast, sometimes on ESPN.
I know what it is.
You know what it is?
I'm so glad you raised your hand. I have no idea what you're talking about.
So one of the Christmas Day matchups is going to be the Washington Wizards against the New York Knicks, and ESPN started, they had this great idea to promote both this matchup and also Taken 3 that is about to be released, I think, January.
January, that's a film. Somewhere. Taken 3, it's Taken.
Yeah, with Liam Neeson. So John Wall from the Washington Wizards promoted it with Liam Neeson.
This is going to make sense to all of you once you watch the following video clip. Let's take a look.
What's up?
The team I support has a very particular set of skills. Skills they've acquired over a fearless career. They move fast. They shoot with unthinkable accuracy. They know how to defend themselves. And they train around the clock. What that means for you is this. Christmas Day, they're going to unleash their skills on you and your team. And they're going to defeat you.
Yeah, he says they're going to defeat you. Well,
yeah.
John Wall doesn't care. He's just
like, yeah, whatever.
Bring it up.
Bring it up. Bring it on. Bring it on.
I don't know who's going to win. I don't think the Knicks are going to win.
No, you don't think
I mean, never. But
I'm quite horrified by what you just said right now, because the Knicks are practically the only ones I know. I gotta say. But yes.
Okay. Now let's move on. We've spoken enough about Christmas. Now some Hanukkah time. So NBA might not be your thing, but Hogwarts School of Magic.
Yes.
All right. So have you ever wondered, was there a Jew in Hogwarts?
Actually,
hold on. Stop.
I haven't.
Because
I don't
Christmas,
know why.
you remember the Christmas atmosphere there, right? The lovely dinner and all the decorations. But what about Hanukkah in Hogwarts?
That's very true.
So Benjamin Rothman, he's some person from Chicago.
The issue that is a very smart issue was Harry Potter anti-Semitic?
With his glasses. Come on.
Yes, okay. Was there Hanukkah in Hogwarts?
Well, according to J.K. Rowling, there was. I mean, somebody tweeted
we just kept
her.
him in the basement. No.
Someone from Chicago named Benjamin Rothman tweeted J.K. Rowling this question: were there any Jews at Hogwarts? And then she says, Well, yeah, Anthony Goldstein. He was a part. If you remember this figure,
I don't know who he is.
She doesn't know who he is. But
she just made this up. Come on, I'm not buying.
No, but then she's elaborating. She says, he was a part of Dumbledore's army and fought alongside his comrades at the Battle of Hogwarts.
Wasn't Dumbledore the bad guy?
No, the one.
No, I was never.
So every time we light a candle, we should remember Brave Goldstein.
Brave Goldstein. I just want to say that I don't remember him from the book. I don't remember him from the movies, and I think she just made it up because she got the tweet and went, right, Jews.
And now, do we have time to the next one?
Yes, and moving on.
So it's not only holiday season, it's also duck season, because one duck got very, very lucky during this holiday in Norway. He got stuck under ice, but then a very brave swimmer, a very brave swimmer, 38-year-old Lars Jorn. Yeah, exactly.
Of course.
He said he saved it.
Oh my God.
He saved it. Yeah, it's so cute. He was stuck under ice. He said, I realized that it was trapped and had forgotten where the hole was, that he had to come through.
And then I was wondering if...
But the funny part, here comes the funny part. He says, when I got it to the shore, it still wasn't moving, so I gave it a mouth-to-beak CPR. Yeah, resuscitation.
And that might be the story here.
Yeah, I mean, I think the duck probably opened his eyes, looked at the beard, and went, I want to go back to the water.
Before we run out of time, I want to move on to the next duck. There's another duck, from one duck to another.
From one duck to another.
Let's
move
move
on.
Creepy
stuff. It's
His name is Jordan James Park, and he spent more than $150,000 to become like Kim Kardashian, to replicate her image.
Heartbreaking. But he ended up looking like that.
He's a makeup artist. So, you know.
Yes, I'm choking.
He says, I love everything about Kim. She's the most gorgeous
Tell me this is
woman.
Reversible. This is not plastic surgery.
I don't think so.
It's not reversible.
But you know what's amazing about this guy?
Karen is horrified.
Karen, she just...
Karen, your face says it all.
Hey, this costed
Oh my God, look at that. Oh my God, he will be pouting for the rest of his life. It's the look of,
But
I don't like this. Don't change
more
the
than
bonnet.
50 procedures.
It's really, really horrible.
Yes, but you know, when people like you react like this to his appearance, he says, I laugh when people try to insult me by telling me I look plastic or fake. He reveals, do they think I'm going for the natural look?
No.
If I was, I'd ask for my money back. I mean,
sadly, all the time we have. No, and you're totally right.
Honestly,
with the time we have, don't forget to check us on all those social networks. It's Twitter and Facebook and whatnot. The Morning Edition, and we're here to tell you, do not do that to your face. Okay, you're lovely just the way you are. And tune in tomorrow morning, I-24 News Morning Edition, the place you should be every single day. Oh my God.